Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson had a pig named Mercy. Every Saturday, Mrs. Watson made a special lunch. Time for a special lunch? Little Saturday something, Mrs. Watson says. You have outdone yourself, Mr. Watson says. Oink, says Mercy. Every Saturday after lunch, Mr. Watson goes outside. Mercy follows him. They stand in the driveway. Together, they admire Mr. Watson's convertible. Are you ready? Mr. Watson says. Oink, says Mercy. Mr. Watson opens the passenger door. Mercy hops into the car. She sits behind the wheel and snuffles contentedly. Hee hee hee, Mr. Watson says every Saturday. You, my dear, are a portion wonder, but even a portion wonder cannot drive. Mr. Watson gently pushes Mercy towards the passenger seat, but Mercy does not move. She does not want to sit in the passenger seat. Mercy wants to drive. Hey, 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 Mr. Watson says again. He pushes less gently this time. Scoot over, my dear. Mercy does not move. Help me, Mr. Watson calls out. Every Saturday, Mrs. Watson steps outside. Darling, Mrs. Watson says, if you let Mr. Watson drive, I'll make you an extra helping of hot buttered toast. I will have it waiting for you when you get back home. Mercy narrows her eyes. She loves hot buttered toast. She also loves extra helpings. Slowly, very slowly, she moves over to the passenger side. What a dear, says Mrs. Watson. She claps her hands. You're such a good sport, darling. Yes, Mr. Watson says. She most certainly is. He gets into the car and sits behind the wheel. He turns the key in the ignition, though Watson's convertible rumbles to life. Bon voyage, Mrs. Watson says. My dear, when you get home, you'll have all the hot butter toast. Goodbye, Mrs. Watson, Mr. Watson shouts. He backs out the car of the driveway very quickly. He does not look behind him. Mr. Watson's a forward-looking type of a guy. He does not believe in looking back. Oink, says Mercy, already having a good time. We're off, says Mr. Watson. We're off on an adventure.
One bright spring morning, Friska was born. All the year other lambs grew, but Friska stayed the same size. She was very small. All the sheep laughed at her because she was so small. This made her very unhappy. To make herself look big, she covered herself with snow. But when spring came, all the snow melted. So she let white cherry blossoms fall on her. But a strong wind came and blew them away. She stole a fleece from the shepherds at shearing time, but one of the shepherds noticed and took it back. One evening there was a fierce wolf that spied the flock of sheep and thought, what a tasty meal they'd make. He chased the sheep till they were too tired to run further. And then he prepared to pounce. He didn't see Friska because she was so small. She bravely crept up behind the wolf and bit his tail hard. Chomp! The wolf let out a dreadful howl. Aye! A monster has got me. Let go, kind monster, and I will never come back again. So Friska let go, but she hid in the bush, just in case it was a trick. But the wolf ran off into the forest. He didn't dare to look back at the terrible monster. Friska had saved the sheep, and she was never laughed at again.
Elmer the patchwork elephant was in a cave sheltering from a storm. With him were other elephants and birds. Thunder and lightning are exciting, said Elmer, and after a storm we might see a rainbow. When the storm had stopped, Elmer and the birds went outside. Elmer felt drops on his head. Oh, he said, it's still raining. Perhaps it's the rainbow crying, said a bird. It's come out too soon and lost its colors, look. In the sky was a pale shape. A rainbow without colors, said Elmer. That's awful. We must do something. I'll give it my colors. To do that, you'll have to find where it touches the ground, said a bird. Nobody knows where that is. Well, what are we waiting for, said Elmer. Let's start searching. You go that way, and I'll go this. What are you looking for, Elmer? Called the lion. The end of the rainbow, said Elmer. Have you seen it? Which end? Asked the lion. Either end, said Elmer. The rainbow's lost its colors. I can give it mine if we can find the end. A rainbow without colors? That is serious, said Tiger. Come on, Lion, we'd better search. You too, rabbits. We'll roar when we find it, said Lion. A little later, Elmer met Giraffe. Elmer, she said, there's something strange in the sky. That's the rainbow, said Elmer, and he told her about the lost colors. Can you see where it touches the ground? Giraffe stretched very high. No, I can't, she said. What will happen to you, Elmer, if you give it your colors? She asked, but Elmer was already on his way to get the elephants. The elephants were still in the cave. We're not coming out with that thing in the sky, they said, but when Elmer explained the problem, the elephants were keen to help. What about Elmer? What happens if he gives away his colors? Asked an elephant. I suppose he'll be like us, said his friend. Better that than a colorless rainbow. Elmer was with the monkeys when the birds returned. No luck so far, they said. We'll keep looking. Nobody can find the end of the rainbow, said a monkey. But it'll be fun to try. By the time Elmer arrived at the river, everyone was looking for the rainbow. Hello, fish, he called. I don't suppose you know where the rainbow starts, do you? Usually at the waterfall, said a fish. But today there's some pale thing there. That's the rainbow, said Elmer. Come on, to the waterfall. Sure enough, a colorless rainbow was coming from the waterfall. The search was over. Elmer, the fish, and the crocodiles called loudly to the other animals. Then, without waiting, Elmer went behind the waterfall. By the time the other animals arrived, Elmer was out of sight. Colors gradually began to appear in the rainbow. Hurrah! Cheered the animals. But what about Elmer? Whispered an elephant. As if in answer, Elmer appeared from behind the waterfall. He still had his colors. The animals cheered again. But Elmer, said an elephant, you gave your colors to the rainbow. How can you still have them? Elmer chuckled. Some things you can give and not lose any. Things like happiness or love or my colors. On the way home, Tiger said, I wondered if the rainbow would be patchwork. Elmer grinned. Don't even think about it, said the lion. We have enough trouble with a patchwork elephant. This time, Elmer laughed out loud.